Check out my brand new sound design course along with all of my samples and presets by using the links below. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with a banger. I was doing my weekly patrol on Spotify and I came across this song from the Kid Leroy.
Can we go back to how it was?
And immediately I heard that guitar. I'm like, that's an Avicii vibe. So I put this into FL Studio. I sped it up from 106 to 128. And then I pitched that down a little bit to make it in a better key for dance music. And I just started freestyling some Avicii type of melodies on top of it. And then I didn't open the project up for another month. And then in the past couple of days, I've been so inspired by kind of that Stamped Records, like bass house, future housey type of melodic stuff. Think Vluarr, Seth Hills, people like that. So my plan was to pretty much keep most of that original song with a guitar because I love that guitar, and then transition that into more of a aggressive, darker type of drop. So I started with a simple kick and clap. And then I added this offbeat percussion from Nitric that instantly gave me this rhythm that I wanted to make a bass line to. So I wanted to go drums, bass line, and then lead. Simple enough, but I wanted to, I've just been feeling so inspired lately to make everything from scratch. Because when you can make sounds from scratch via sound design and just knowing a bunch of different techniques and things like that, you can create a lot of cool stuff and something that's specifically tailored to your song, which is why sound design is so important. It takes a little bit of time, but in the end, it's such an advantage to be able to make a sound from scratch and use that in a song and tweak it ever so slightly in a couple of different ways to where it's exactly what you want. So like I said, I was going for a Stamped Records type of bass here. I made this preset inside of Vital, but this preset, without any processing, the bass is pretty much just like a simple bass pluck. Then I added loads of EQ, distortion, and things like that to make it really aggressive. It really had this like squarey Julian Jordan type of vibe. But I eventually filtered that down to where I just got a sub bass at the end. I started off with just this aggressive sub bass, and then from there I laid down the bass line. Then I added another bass layer, and this one's more of like the gritty layer. This one was providing a lot of the mid-range, the high-end type of stuff, and this was the reboot bass from Nitric. And then I wanted to put a big drop stab on the one. So I took the brass from my Good Morning remake, and then I took more of like a growling type of bass, put those together, and then I filtered that down to just make it move a little bit, make it go like that type of effect, but not as extreme. So at this point, I'm like, all right, we're getting somewhere. And I have this preset I'm holding on to, probably the best preset I've ever made. It sounds extreme, but it's just like nice ambient, dark, distorted pluck. It's so nice for pads. I was just messing around with that a little bit in the break, just toying around with some ideas. And then immediately I duplicated that. I took that preset and then I made that into a lead, distorted it like crazy. Once again, a lot of post-processing in this song, EQ, distortion, things like that. And I just wrote this simple melody on top of it. So for the most part, the melody's pretty steady, kind of just staying like da da da, but then I jump it up like that, and it gave me like this Mesto vibe, Mesto-ish vibe. And then I'm like, from here, I'm like, all right, I gotta make something from this. Don't mess this up. And then I took a preset from Martin Garrix's Vital. Really simple preset. There's not really much, it's not really an interesting sound, but this is giving us a lot of width on top of it, and it's almost disguised with that first lead. So This in itself isn't really a great singular lead. I wanted to have that main distorted pluck sound and then have more of a wider preset. And then a crucial white noise layer. And white noise, if you layer it on top of your leads, really common to do, but it just glues it together. And white noise doesn't have tone to it, of course, it's just noise. But when you put noise on top of leads, it glues them together, adds a really nice high end, and then instantly this lead was popping a lot. And what it was missing was reverb and pitch automation. This is kind of crucial for Brooks type of future house songs in general. So I first did the reverb, and the reverb here is filling in pretty much every single gap, which if I were to look at this project when I did this, I would think like, that's way too much. Like that's way overdoing it. But that was kind of the theme here, that reverb, that big hall effect. So I didn't mind a lot of it here. And the second main automation is the pitch bend. This is just making it more moody. I guess you could say it's making it come alive a little bit, giving it a little more character. So if you think of someone playing a guitar, they're not going to play the notes like bom, 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 bom. They're going to go bom, 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 if you think about it. And that's exactly what I think pitch bend does in a way. It just gives you that effect. And in this case, I think it just made it really moody, and I just love how this lead turned out overall. And as for everything else before the drop, there's really not that much happening because I loved how the original song was. It was simple enough to where I could add some things on top of it. Drums, effects, transitional stuff to arrange it for more of an EDM type of song. Yeah, it was just nice because it was guitar, I think there might have been a bass in there, and then the vocals. That's really all it was. So I took that, I chucked it in there. So it's more of like a bootleg mashup type of song, not a complete full-fledged remix with just the vocals. So yeah, so I didn't add too much from the original song in terms of that. That was mainly just to build me up to the drop. So now for the details in the drop. And I'll be honest, a lot of these details, they just sound out of place. So if I'm making a song like Vluarr, there's a lot of like little things here and there. It's honestly like a Jonas Aiden type of vibe where there's a lot of ear candy little effects here and there. I'll go ahead and play them with the drums, and you'll hear that if I play them by themselves, they just sound really random and out of place. At the end of it though, everything meshes together with the overall theme. And when I'm adding the ear candy like this in these type of songs, I've said this before, I'm just trying to find sounds that I like, throwing them in and just trying to make it work. If it doesn't work, you just try something else. That's why I love having like a big pack on the left side. That's why Splice, it's good, but I like having the pack on the left side because it's boom in the project, boom in the project. You can try it, you can pitch it, you know, distort it, you can do all kinds of weird stuff. But yeah, it was mainly just trying to find a lot of weird stuff, if we're going to be honest, and make it fit. And then I added a few snare fills in the drop. A little fill in that pre-drop. And then for the second half, I added this ARP. This is a preset from Famous. Just going up and down the octaves because I wanted to evolve the song. You know, the rule of thumb is every 4 bars, try to make something different. So I added an ARP, and then I added some more drums as well. Hi-hats, things like that. Just to make it more energetic and a little bit more breathable in that second half, if that makes sense. And then I threw in a few vocal chops from the original. I got the acapella off YouTube, threw in some little vocal chops from the original just to keep the listener, you know, still on track with that original song. And one more thing in the second half was a little cowbell sample. And just on the offbeat, it doesn't make a big difference, but it's just, you know, it keeps the song progressing, it keeps it fresh, And then honestly, I'm probably going to add a few more things as well. Maybe like a pad, things like that, and not make it so like, not make it too robotic and just make it breathe a little bit. When I made it, it wasn't like this straightforward. It wasn't like I just went boom, 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 boom. Pretty much though, it was just a matter of having that bass line. It was great making that sound from scratch, because when you can make a sound from nothing, you know how to make it fit your song exactly, which, I think sound design actually helps a lot with mixing, if we're going to be honest, because since you know how that sound works, you know how you can layer other things on top, which is why I think sound design is a lot more than sound design. I think sound design goes a lot with mixing. Not exactly, obviously, but in terms of modern producers and things, us all working on our computers and trying to figure out how to make this stuff, sound design and mixing go hand in hand together, in my opinion. So ladies and gentlemen, we're back with a banger. Vluarr, Mesto, Brooks, Stamped Records style, Seth Hills, maybe. And let's go to the full playthrough.
Can we go back to how it was? Before my pride got in between us. Go ahead and hit me where it hurts, because at least then I'll feel something. Screaming in my face, kicked me out your place, so I got nowhere to go. Can we find love again? Is this time the end? Tell me how many more tears will drop till you hit me with, can we talk and try love again? Can we?
Check out my brand new sound design course along with all of my samples and presets by using the links below.